Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Press Row Show. The number one rated, it still remains the number one rated pregame, intermission, and postgame show emanating live from the Wells Fargo Center as your team, your town, your Philadelphia Flyers look to pick up yet another win. It's almost Thanksgiving, and we're talking about this team maybe picking up, their fifth straight win, Anthony? I thought this was a rebuild. Apparently, we've been lied to.
No, it's the team is playing really well. They're in a little bit of a heater right now, Russ. And,
a little bit.
Yeah, four straight.
They beat the Golden Knights.
Yeah.
They beat the Hurricanes.
And the Kings. And the Ducks, who have a decent offense.
Ducks.
And now they're going to run into a Columbus Blue Jackets team that's kind of struggling a little bit and fighting it a little bit. And we brought a special guest on for this one.
Yes, we have.
Columbus Blue Jackets beat writer for The Athletic, good friend of mine, has been covering the team since their inception, all 23 seasons of the Columbus Blue Jackets. My good friend Aaron Portzline. Portsy, how's it going, my friend?
Gentlemen, how are you? Good to be with you.
Good to be with you, too. And we'll get to why you're joining us remotely and not sitting right next to us in a few minutes. But let's talk about this team. I know a lot of people are going to want to ask questions about our favorite defenseman, Ivan Provorov. But
he plays for Columbus?
Yeah.
Are they aware that he plays for them?
But before we get to him, why don't you give us an update of where the Blue Jackets are right now and how things are going for the team?
Well, they are a mess right now, Anthony. They're all over the place, guys. Patrick Laine is not playing today. As a healthy scratch, he's not playing.
That's unreal.
So he's the Morgan Frost of the Blue Jackets, is what you're saying?
I mean, this is Patrick Laine, though. He has 200 career goals at the age of 25. Johnny Gaudreau's been benched twice at the end of third periods. A rookie who had 16 goals and 40 points has been in the American Hockey League now. That was just last year. Is in the AHL for 2 weeks. You'd think that guy can play on this team. David Jiricek, great young defenseman, has been in and out of the lineup. Told to get a place in Columbus 4 days later, sent to the American Hockey League for a game. I mean, nothing makes sense right now. Pascal Vincent is the head coach in his first year. If his name were John Tortorella, these moves would not surprise anybody because Ports does this stuff all the time. But it has been a rough sled here for Pascal Vincent. They've lost 8 in a row. They're off to a worse start this year than they were last year. At this point last year, Voracek was out for the year, later traded. Werenski was out for the year. The season was already hopeless. It's not that yet, but it's trending in that direction. If they lose today, they'll match a franchise record for a 9-game winless streak. Think of this franchise through the years and what you know about them. They're always drafting so high in the draft, who they are as a franchise, and they would tie a record for winless, for futility. That's what's at stake today. Nothing makes sense. All of the things you thought would be question marks at the start of the season have been pretty good. All of the things you thought you knew at the start of the season have just blown up. Gaudreau just yesterday, beat an NHL goaltender for the first time in the season. Didn't have a goal except for an empty netter before yesterday. Worst start of his career. Lining was lost. So much of what they needed to have happen just to sort of be respectable has just blown out the window. It's been a truly, truly awful start.
Why do you think it's gone so bad for them? I mean, we knew last year there was going to be kind of a rough season, but the whole idea was to be a competitive team this year and potentially contend for a playoff spot. I know the whole Babcock thing kind of blew up on them, and that was not planned. But aside from that, is that really it, or is there more to it?
I mean, I don't think that's really any of it, to be honest with you. I think they got really lucky with that happening when it did, because if he's doing that crap before the season even starts. Imagine some of the stuff he would have tried to get away with once the season got rolling. That needed to happen. I don't know. Maybe they need a coach that puts the fear of God in them. Maybe Pascal Vincent just doesn't. They've historically played their best hockey under John Tortorella, who you all know well now. Ken Hitchcock, who you all have known through the years as well. Those have been the best two coaches in Blue Jackets history. That kind of coach. Vincent is not that, but it's hard to point to one thing when there's so many things that have really fallen off the face of the earth here.
Well, how are the fans reacting right now to, Johnny Gaudreau was a big signing.
Absolutely.
We talked about the fact on our end, this is back when there was a president of hockey ops in town who gaslit the fan base for a couple of years saying that they were, one move away or they were retooling. And we talked about all right, well, if you go out and get a Johnny Gaudreau who had the best season of his career, there's almost no chance he's going to be able to replicate that point production. Columbus seemed like a bit of a surprise for him to go there. He certainly has not lived up to that contract, but are the fans in Columbus any more rational than the fans in Philadelphia? Are they getting ready to give him a Trey Turner-esque standing ovation to get him back on track? Like, what is the overall sentiment of the fan base right now as it pertains to the guy who was once at least referred to as Johnny Hockey?
Yeah. Well, Columbus and Philadelphia are two dramatically different fan bases. We love Santa Claus, Columbus, Ohio. You know what I'm saying?
But unfortunately, we're going to have to put you in the box for that. That's 2 minutes for...
unsportsmanlike conduct.
It's unsportsmanlike. Yeah. Go ahead.
Johnny...
We'll allow it.
Johnny was decent last year in a season where there was just no pressure because it was over so early. He had 20 more points than anybody else involved. Nobody complained about him last year. This is really the first time that he's sort of hit a rough patch here in Columbus. There's a ton of frustration, but honestly, most of the frustration, from what I can tell, if the comment sections are not a rational place, but a fair place to draw conclusions of where people are putting their anger, it's towards Jarmo Kekalainen, the general manager, who's been here for 10 years, who at first was seen as a pretty smart guy with his drafting, and the Blue Jackets make the playoffs 4 years in a row, Tortorella the coach. Since then, it's been a wandering, aimless, just a directionless mess. And they were rebuilding. And then Johnny Hockey became available in free agency and really called them. They were not in the Johnny Gaudreau market until Gaudreau called them. And I think at first they literally thought he was joking with them, or that he was trying to get a second team in to draw the numbers up, because everybody knows he's going to Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
And Philadelphia was not involved in the least. And so really it quickly became obvious that it was just Columbus. And so they thought, think back to this club's recent history too. Artemi Panarin out. Sergei Bobrovsky wants out. Seth Jones wants out. Like, there's a flood of star players that are leaving. So I don't think anybody really blames them that when a star player looks at them, finally, here's a way to change the narrative. All of that can be wiped away. It may have been too much too early, Gaudreau. Not ready for him in the rebuild. And I don't think he wants any part of being a leader either. He never was that in Calgary. It doesn't come naturally to him. I'm not sure he's even trying to do that in Columbus. So it's hit a rough patch for sure, but I think most of the vitriol is still directed towards Jarmo Kekalainen.
So one guy that thought he was in a situation that didn't play up to his strengths, and is now happy to be in Columbus, is Ivan Provorov. How has that been? How has that transition worked? Is he playing good hockey in your mind?
He's been fine. He had one huge turnover at the end of the game that cost them the game directly. It's hard to look at Provorov, though, and say that he's been an issue for what they've faced here. There's a lot of nights he's played more minutes Then Werenski, who has struggled after missing most of last year. Damon Severson from the Devils coming over just a couple days after Provorov is really, I think he's struggled a lot more than Provorov has. Provorov's been fine, really. If you're making a list of 20 things that the Blue Jackets have to fix, I don't think Provorov lands on that list. I don't think he's been great by any stretch. I don't think anyone's been great. But he hasn't been a problem at all. I do wonder if he's been asked recently if he's happy to be in Columbus, because he may have a different answer given the way things have gone. But he was ready for a fresh start.
Yeah. Were you guys able to talk to him before he came here to kind of get his sense of what it's going to be like to come back to Philly?
Yeah, and he was looking forward to it. He said, what else is he going to say? 7 years, I think it was, of his career. Yeah. Been here at the start. I think he was proud to wear the orange. I think there was some frustration at the end, certainly, how he was used the last couple of years. He felt like the system here in Columbus was better suited to his game, although I don't think anyone who's watched this team play the first month of the season can discern a system, if you know what I mean. It's just all over the place. He's been a good soldier, if you will, so far, and he hasn't crapped on Philadelphia in any way. He's just said that he felt like it was time for a fresh start, which I think is a spot a lot of players reach.
Well, that's awesome. Portsy, before we let you go, there's something very important that I want to have you talk about. In case people here in Philly aren't aware, the reason you're not here, you made an announcement last month that you've been dealing with a genetic kidney disease that's now in stage 5, and you're being treated for it with dialysis, and you're hoping to have a donor soon. But I think it's important that the message that you're trying to get out with the Ohio State University is maybe people should consider officially thinking about if they want to be a donor and actually taking the step to register to become a donor, organ donor. It doesn't have to just be kidneys, but any organ donor. So I wanted to give you a minute or two to talk about that and talk about your experience.
Yeah, well, thanks. So as you guys know, there's not a lot that we agree on in this country right now. But one of the things that tends to cross all aisles, genders, all differences, whatever, most people want to be donors or would be willing to help somebody if they're no longer using their organs, whether that's as a living donor, which you can be for a kidney, or in the event of your passing. Why shouldn't those organs? Think of Chris Snow, the great hockey first journalist and a front office member. A very sad end to his life. What a champion he was, and part of that was his organs went to several people after his passing. So many people want to do that or believe that it's something they would be willing to do, and yet don't take the next step to declare that in a legal way, either on their driver's license, bill, one way or the other. So Ohio State, myself, trying to get more people to not just think that's a good idea, but to take that next step and to declare it in a legal way, so that there are 90,000 people just waiting on kidneys in this country. I'm just one of 90,000. There's over 100,000 people awaiting a transplant of some type. And there are people who pass every day who are willing to help those people, but haven't told anybody that they're willing to do that. And so their organs can't be used in that way. So step forward, make sure it is known that you want to donate if you can. I know it's not a conversation a lot of people like to think about. It's kind of like doing your will, but it's a necessary part of adult life, having a will. There are countries where you are born as a donor and you have to declare out of it. What an interesting step that would be if America took that step.
Yeah.
You can declare out of it, but you are just born as a donor. Interesting. In our country, it's the other way around. You're born not a donor. You have to declare that you want to be one. So if it's something you're thinking about, ask questions. There's all sorts of resources online, all sorts of places that can help you do that. But please think about it and step forward.
Well, Portsy, that's a great message from you. And I know that we're all keeping our fingers crossed for you. Hopefully, you will have a match soon, and you can get back out on the road covering the wonderful Blue Jackets,
right.
And we can hang out and share a beverage when you get back to Philly.
There you go. Thanks so much for the platform and the time, guys. I really appreciate it.
Aaron Portzline from The Athletic. Best of luck, bud, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Talk to you later.
So I want to say, Russ.
Yeah.
Just for the people who were wondering why it was taking me so long to get that question out, because we had to do a weird connection with Aaron Portzline. We were hearing ourselves in our headsets, and so therefore it was a little bit disconcerting to hear myself saying what I was saying coming back to me in repeat. So that's why it took a little bit there. That's why some of those questions sounded weird.
I didn't have that issue because I brought my AirPods with me because we talked about the importance of bringing another pair of headphones. But
it would have still mattered. It would still been the same because mine were coming through.
It would have.
Okay.
So anyway,
let's talk about the Flyers.
Welcome here. And you know what? It's a great message, and we obviously hope that will keep us posted.
Yes,
I'm sure he'll keep everyone posted. He's got a nice big platform too. But
yes.
I don't think everybody who watches the Press Row Show, listens to Snow the Goalie, follows him necessarily on Twixter. But I'm sure you'll keep us apprised of it. It'd be great to have him out here.
Yeah, I will say like I said, we've been covering hockey together for almost a quarter century. There used to be a group of one writer in each city that we shared what was called like a notes network, and we would always, give each other all the inside scoop about all the teams, so we knew what was going on around the league. And I got to know Portsy really well doing that, and been on the road with him many times out in Columbus. He's been here in Philly, whether we've been at an All-Star game, a Stanley Cup final, wherever we've been. One of my favorite guys in the sport, and would want nothing more than to see my friend get the kidney that he needs. So that's why I was excited that we were able to bring him on to share that message.
It's a really great thing. Let's get to this game at hand. We have to turn the page. It's a great message. I notice I didn't weigh in too much. I'm always uncomfortable in those kind of situations, And I think it's a good thing that we were able to kind of make that connection. Let's turn the page because we brought up Ivan Provorov, and I didn't have a nice way to ask this, but I was wondering if Ivan Provorov has yet learned how to keep the puck in at the blue line, because as we all know, that was one thing that he was just absolutely horrific at. I saw somebody in the comments. They mentioned the fact that no one worked harder on their game than Provorov when he was here. I think it is important to note, among the many things that will be said about Ivan Provorov, is that he worked at his craft. He worked on his physicality. He worked like a psycho, like in all the best ways. But was he coachable? Mixed messages on that.
Yeah, I would say it depends on the coach.
Yeah.
Like I think certain coaches who maybe gave him a little bit more leeway, then he was more coachable, whereas coaches that gave him less leeway, he was less coachable.
Yep.
And that included John Tortorella, who I don't think was a big fan of him. So, but yeah, I mean, his biggest weakness was he always wanted to be the guy on the power play, and really was not cut out for that. I mean, could he be like the second pair guy? Yeah.
Yeah. But he mentally was not willing to accept that.
Yeah, he was not willing to accept that. And it was a matter of, it wasn't, you talk about the blue line, keeping the puck in at the blue line, and that was a thing. Like, it was like, okay, yeah, he struggled with that. But if that's the worst part of your game, big deal. What I thought was more of a problem on the blue line at on the power play was he was just slow making decisions on what to do with the puck. I thought that he was just, and when I say slow, it's not like it was turtle slow. It was just not fast enough. I just felt like he passed the puck late. He could have shot the puck and didn't. I just thought that there were times that he didn't do what needed to be done when he was here. And look, I think he's a good player. He's not a number one defenseman. but he's a good player. He's a good NHL player, and like him or not like him for whatever reason, he's going to be in this league for a while, a long while, and but it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see how they react to him here tonight. I'm curious what fans will do. I'm curious. There was a question: will there be a video tribute? I honestly don't know. I'd be surprised if there is, but I would be surprised if there isn't too. Right? I mean, it's like there's two things about it. Like I could look at it from both sides and go, "Oh yeah, I see why they did it," and I could do it and say, "Oh, I see why they didn't do it." Yeah. So. Anyway, that's going to be an interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the fans respond.
It's always hard to figure out these. I feel like with the old regime, there would have absolutely been one because I think they were willing to give a video tribute to anybody who got changed in the locker room, kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
And with this crew, I'm not so sure. Did Provorov play a lot of meaningful minutes for this team? Yes and no. I think that in the moments that he was able to play in any kind of a meaningful situation, he played relatively well. But his tenure as a Flyer was marred by a lot of mediocrity. It doesn't mean it was his fault. We've documented many times on this show over the last 5.5 years. It certainly couldn't have been on one player. But I don't think that we're going to get somewhere, 5 years down the line where people are going to wax poetic about Ivan Provorov playing in Philadelphia.
No.
Now, I have to say, Ant, what Columbus is going through is insanity. Okay? They are... I don't want to say they're a disgrace to the league.
No, that would be... Well, never mind. Go ahead.
What were you going to say? Go ahead.
Well, no, I would say that would be what's going on with the Arizona Coyotes, but they're at least a decent team this year.
Yes.
But they're with the fact that they're playing in a college hocky rink. That's
not ideal.
That's
more of an indictment, I think, on the commissioner.
Yeah.
Than anything. But Columbus, what Portzline was saying about they didn't actually think that Gaudreau was serious when he reached out or his reps reached out about him playing in Columbus. There's a perfect example of a guy who clearly did not have any other suitors in a meaningful way. He goes to a team that probably wasn't ready to have him, and they've done a lot of patchwork moves. I dare say that Columbus looks like a team that was put together by the former Flyers president of hockey ops. It's a lot of Band-Aids. It doesn't actually fix any of the underlying issues with the team. It's just putting Band-Aids on a gaping wound, and they just do not look like a cohesive unit. They don't look like a very good hockey team, which is why I'm picking the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight to beat your team, your town, your Philadelphia Flyers, because this is just what happens. The Flyers go out, they beat a lot of really good teams, including on the road. They play a back-to-back, and they play this monstrosity of a team, and it just stands to reason that they'll lose. I actually haven't come up with my prediction yet. We have 11 minutes.
Well, hey, we can always talk about who's not in the lineup again tonight.
Well, that's actually a very interesting thing. Carter Hart not in the lineup tonight. I know that's where Anthony was going with that. Carter Hart, as we expected, there are 2 back-to-backs here over the next week and a half or so.
Yeah.
And he is not playing the second half of this back-to-back. I think yesterday you said something to the extent of why would it have been a thought of him sitting last night? I think that you were also with Bundy and I that he probably would sit tonight. All right, it's not Carter Hart. Morgan Frost, 4 points in 3 games, and then last game not that great, but 4 points in 3 games, and he's the man out.
And you know why? I mean, we talked about it when it happened in the game against yesterday against the Vegas.
Yep.
There was a play.
Did you say against the Vegas?
No, I was going to say the
against the Vegas.
I always hate the. You know what? I don't like to say Golden Knights.
What do you like to say?
I think it's too big.
The GKs?
I think it's too long of a name.
You think so?
I would rather just be the Knights, like the Golden Knights. It's tough.
Blue Jackets.
It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Golden Knights.
Golden Knights. Yeah, it's 3 syllables.
So are Blue Jackets.
2 words, 3 syllables. It's a lot.
Jackets tonight.
Anyway, so that's why I was going to say the Knights, but then whatever. But point is that there was a play where the puck was in the corner, and Morgan Frost went into the corner, and he went in not wanting to have physical contact, kind of turned his body and bumped the guy with his rear end, barely bumped him, and then because he didn't really make good physical contact, obviously he wasn't separating the player from the puck.
Yep.
So then he had to reach with his stick to try and get the puck, ends up tripping the player.
Yep.
Takes a bad penalty. And we sat right here, Russ, we were sitting right here, me, you, and Bundy.
With like 7 or 8 of our regular listeners who came up, including the guy from Texas. But yeah.
And we pointed out, we said, Torts is going to hate that play. And you said, If they lose this game, he's coming out of the lineup. But they won the game, and he came out of the lineup anyway. Like, we knew just off that alone. That's what he's talking about. It's not the fact that he's putting up points and that he's an offensive player and he's got skill. Those things are great, and if he puts up the points, that's awesome. But Torts has a demand for accountability for his players, that he wants them to play a certain way. And there was a quote that he gave in his press conference yesterday that didn't reflect this play specifically, but I think it was kind of related when someone asked him about the fact that, they blocked 26 shots yesterday and they had 33 the game before. And they said to him, what are you talking about the blocks? He says, if you don't block shots, you don't play. So it's that kind of mentality, right? It's the same thing with Morgan Frost. If you don't play the right way when you don't have the puck, then you're not playing. And that's why Tyson Forster, he scored his first goal, but that's why he was never a guy that they were thinking about bringing out of the lineup, even though he wasn't scoring, because they felt like the rest of his game was good enough because he was playing the way that Torts wants him to play, and Morgan Frost has not. And I think that's the big difference with understanding of where Frost fits into the structure of this team. What?
I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to, Frost probably ends up, this night's probably not the only night he'll get scratched. And then I'm going to have to sit here in a week after Frost misses like 3 games and he comes back and maybe he puts up a couple of points, and then I'm going to have to listen to you say, John Tortorella pushed all the right buttons. It's a great coaching move again.
Here's the thing.
This to me is silly. It's arbitrary. And ultimately, there still remain guys who aren't playing the right way at all times and certainly aren't putting up points. And I will come back to this again. Noah Cates has not had a good season.
Nope.
Noah Cates has not produced points.
Nope.
Noah Cates has looked lost at times this season. Noah Cates has not come out of the lineup in a meaningful way.
But the difference is that Morgan Frost does not play the role that Noah Cates plays.
That's fair.
So that's why you're not subbing the two out. And to respond to, it was a guy one above Brian. K-Dub, yeah. We had it up. I'm going to put it back up again. Frost didn't play a perfect game. He must be benched. It's not that. You see, I think that you're simplifying it too much. You can make mistakes in the game. Players can make mistakes and stay in the lineup, okay? That's not what this is about. This is about not playing a style of game the whole time that you're up there. Ooh, we're in the dark now. We're really dark now.
Hey now!
But this is Flyers After Dark for real. But not playing the style that everyone else is playing, the game that everyone else is playing and committing to, and even after you're sat out, right, and you're not in the lineup, and you come back and you don't do those things, then it's, the Torts is sitting there as a coach saying, you're not getting the message, Morgan. You're not getting the message. We need you to play differently in your own end when you're forechecking. The offense is great. They don't have a problem with him as an offensive player. They have a problem with him when he doesn't have the puck and the way he plays, and he puts them. That's what the issue is, and it's repetitive. It's continual. It's not just one bad game. This is how he plays all the time, and that's why there's going to be a debate about Morgan Frost until he's gone. Okay. And maybe till he's out of the league. There's going to be a debate between people who think he should be playing all the time and people who think that he's nothing special. I happen to be on the not special side. I know you and Bundy are more on the other side. That's okay.
I will not have my good name slandered. Hold on. Pause. Bundy is, if there's a spectrum of fandom for Morgan Frost.
Yeah.
And John Tortorella's on one end.
Yeah.
And Bill Meltzer's on the other.
Yes.
Bundy is probably like a 7.5.
That's fair.
Closer to the Meltzer side.
Yep.
I would say you fancy yourself probably around like a 5.25.
I'm probably lower than that.
Wow, 4.5.
I would say about 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
I fancy myself like a solid 5.
Okay. So you're the hedge.
The ultimate, which I hate. I don't like, me. I don't like to hedge. But I still think the guy has ability. I think he has elite vision. I truly do.
Yeah.
I think that as a playmaker, he has that.
Yeah.
I don't think that this constant in and out nonsense is going to help. I genuinely don't. I said to you the last time when he was out for a long stretch, came back in, it was iffy, out, back in. He put some points up. You kind of did Torts is pushing the right buttons. And I said, I don't really know if it was a brilliant coaching move. I think just at some point as a player, you get angry enough, and, this is what happens. You do go out and prove yourself. My concern, once again, is I don't see how this helps the player.
Okay.
And ultimately, as an asset, I don't know how this helps the team if you're going to move on.
We had a super chat. Let's get to Ted. Thank you very much for the super chat, Ted. We always appreciate them. Bundy said Frost has to play perfect games to not get benched by Torts. Is Torts being unrealistic? Does Torts last here? Bundy said he shouldn't be benched. My thought on this is where I disagree with you guys is, you don't think it can help the player. I think it's the only way to help the player. Because if the player is staying in the lineup and not changing the way he plays, I don't know what you're doing on my computer.
Don't worry about it.
I don't have admin controls here. Okay. But if he's not playing the way that the rest of the team is playing, the way that the coach wants them to play, and this message is being communicated, it's not like John Tortorella is not talking to Morgan Frost. It's not like the two of them are just, incommunicado and Frost doesn't know this is coming or doesn't realize what's happening. This is a constant conversation with the coach and the player. And if the player is not doing what he's being asked to do, then the only way to get the message through is one of two ways. Either you sit him down and say, figure it out, man, and get back in and do what we're asking, or you move on from him. And we already know that the team was willing to move him. We know, and this was not Torts that was trading him. This was Danny Briere and Keith Jones who were willing to trade him, made an offer to the Ottawa Senators that Ottawa shot down for a player who is now suspended for half the season. Okay? So the thing of it is that maybe he's not as good as everybody thinks he is. And maybe it's not just the coach who has a problem with him. Look, I'll take you back when we had this whole thing with Nolan Patrick.
Well, no, we're not doing this.
Well, no, but what I'm saying to you is that
we're going to get people upset.
No, but
the Flyers have won 4 straight games. They're going for a 5th straight win tonight. We don't need to get negative and start relitigating what happened.
I'm not litigating. The comparison I'm going to make is there was a debate then over should Nolan Patrick be playing more? Why isn't he getting an opportunity? Blah, 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 blah. And it turned out that, guess what? They were right. And that was the regime that we didn't think could do anything right.
He was the number 2 overall pick.
But
he was the number 2 overall pick. They had to play him.
Yeah, but
they had to see what he was.
No. But I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the regime knew, all right, it's time to move on from this guy.
He also couldn't stay healthy. He had significant concussion issues. There were problems. There were legitimate problems. The guy doesn't. We're not doing this. He and I will argue about this. By the way, if you're in Wells Fargo Center, come up to the Snow the Goalie Sportsbook. All the way up. Bundy and I renamed it. It's the Snow the Goalie Sportsbook all the way up here.
I heard.
You can come up here, take the elevator at section 121 all the way up. We had a bunch of people here pregame. Oh, crap. It looks like they're getting ready to start the game. And do you have a prediction for tonight? We'll drop these over on Twixter.
Yeah.
We'll obviously talk about this more.
Make sure you get Bundy's pick.
I'll get it. Don't you worry.
Yes, I will take the Flyers to win this game.
Wow.
A victory by the Flyboys tonight. And my final score on this game will be 4-1.
Really?
4-1 Flyers.
Really?
Yes.
I got bad news for you. I have to start hedging a little bit. I have to start picking my spots.
The only reason you're doing this is because you're worried about intern Andrew catching you.
No, I'm worried about the standings right now. Intern Andrew, what's your prediction? He says 5-4 Blue Jackets.
You took the Blue Jackets?
He changed his mind twice. He just doesn't have the chutzpah.
Okay.
I'm taking Columbus as well. I don't think this is a good game.
Okay.
I think the second half of back-to-back, Ersson and net, they're going to be smelling themselves a little bit. I see 5-2, empty netter.
5-2 Columbus.
5-2 Columbus, empty netter.
4-1 Flyers.
We'll see how it goes. We'll be back here in
Bundy just texted. What was his pick?
In the first intermission. He says 4-2 Flyers.
Okay.
So Bundy and Ant both take the Flyers. Intern Andrew and I going with Columbus. This is how Intern and Andrew and I make up some ground in the standings.
Okay.
We will talk to all of you in the first intermission. By the way, don't forget, let some Flyers fans in your life know about the Press Row Show. Let them know about the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@SnowTheGoalie. You can go on your TV, pull up the YouTube app, and type in Snow the Goalie, or just ask your smart device to play Snow the Goalie. We'll be back during the first intermission. Here comes Lauren Hart with the national anthem. We'll talk to you all very soon. Well, you can see by the numbers there. After one period, your team, your town, your Philadelphia Flyers, and the Columbus Blue Jackets tied at 1 goal apiece. A bit of an eventful first period there. Highlighted, accentuated by a fight with Nick Delorier. And let's get down to brass tacks. When it comes to fights in the NHL, what's the number one thing that two combatants should do, Ant? If you're going to take the time to drop the gloves, drop the sticks, adjust your jersey.
No, look, yeah, that's the thing. Like, sometimes a fight just is a reactive thing, right? And you just respond, and, you're in the moment, and you just drop them and throw, right? You start throwing punches. But what these guys did is they dropped the gloves, kicked the sticks away, adjusted their pads, fixed the jersey. Take the damn helmet off.
Well, sir, the language here on the Press Row Show.
Take the helmet off. I mean, it's not like they're not wearing face shield. Take the shields off. You're going to cut up those knuckles, and then, of course, they throw a few punches, and then they tap each other on the back of the head. Say, good job.
That's the part for me. I mean, is the hand. Like, you don't want to have a guy break his hand because you hit the underside of a visor. So,
right.
And that's, again, good fight. Two big guys going at it right there, bringing some life and energy to the building. I appreciate that. But I don't want to see either one of them break their hand.
That's exactly right. If you're going to break your hand, break it on the other guy's face. That's what I always say. We didn't even do this, but welcome into the Press Row Show, the number one rated first intermission show this side of the Mississippi. Russ Joy and SanFilippo, Bundy down on the end. Drop your questions, your comments, concerns on YouTube, youtube.com/@snowthegoalie, or just go over to your YouTube app or on your phone or on your TV, whatever, on your cable box, if you're so inclined. And you can type in Snow the Goalie and find us there. On Facebook as well, you can drop your comments below. If you're on Twitter, we love you and appreciate you, but please head on over to YouTube or Facebook to join the conversation. Otherwise, you can tweet at us, and maybe we'll see it sometime, but we can't bring it up on the screen. Bundy, we didn't get your opinion on this. We talked about the on the scale of John Tortorella and Bill Meltzer, you're probably about a 7.5. I'm about a 5. But Ant over here is like a 3.5 on the Morgan Frost scale. Morgan Frost out of the lineup. I argued not warranted. Noah Cates remains in the lineup. They don't play the same role, however. Frost, I don't think there was enough bad in the last game to justify pulling him. Ant kind of made the case that it was probably justified, or it was that moment that we all kind of looked at each other in the last game.
I'm going to tell you because I know what you're talking about. He went in the corner with his butt first into the boards instead of shouldering the guy, going for the puck battle. He tried to take the easy way. And, again.
And it resulted in a penalty.
It did. So he hooked the guy after. So I'm going to say this. In fairness to Torts, he's trying to get a structured message across the entire team.
Yep.
And part of that message is that you can't play like that. Now, do I think that Morgan Frost has been the whipping boy? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But somebody always is. There's always somebody who ends up being the whipping boy in any moment in time. And until Morgan Frost, if he gets back in again, erases that kind of play, he's going to continue being in the shadow bow wow. Because that's what it is. There's no way other to explain it. He doesn't have, and he's not been afforded the same rope as the other guys that are in the lineup. So we may as well stop talking about Noah Cates. Does he deserve to be out? Sure, he has. So has a lot of other guys. But they have a lot more money in the bank than apparently Morgan Frost does.
And
Bundy's right. I mean, in that regard. I mean, it's exactly what we said. I mean, it was that play. I mean, we literally sat here and said, Torts is going to hate that play.
Yep.
He's going to hate that play. And you said if they lose, he's going to come out. Well, he took him out regardless. They won the game and he still took him out. Yep. But no, I think Bundy's right. I mean, it is sending a message that there's a way that this team is structured. It has to play every game.
By the way, do we come up with a shirt over on the Snow the Goalie store, shop.snowthegoalie.com, of like a Morgan Frost helmet in the Chateau Bow Wow? I love that.
I like the name Chateau Bow Wow.
Chateau Bow Wow.
It's like a beautiful castle.
It's you with your French
for
last
dogs,
name.
Otherwise known as the doghouse.
Yeah, your French last name. Sad.
We call it Le Maison Bow Wow. Because the house is Maison.
Ouais. Absolument. All right, let's get into
Well, so
what?
somebody put up. Did you
What?
see this flying lawn chair comment? And I'm
Go ahead.
wondering if Sanheim. I can't pull it up.
I'm so sick of you with this excuse.
Well, did he? I think. Did he hype? Did he mention like listen to the goalie? Is that in the pregame?
I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. I wanted.
Flying
to
lawn
ask.
chair. Let us know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I want to know if Sanheim mentioning the podcast. That'd be crazy.
I can't
if he
imagine
did.
that he was talking about Snow the Goalie, Only Flyers podcast. But as we've documented here many times, Travis Sanheim has been on this show more than any other player.
That's true.
Believe it or not.
It's because So that's 2 number 6s that have been frequent visitors. on
That's
this show.
exactly right.
That's great.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And depending on the person looking at us, we're maybe a couple of 6s as well. Ant, me, and you. Huh? All right.
Absolutely, Russ.
Let's continue. All right, maybe I shot a little bit high there. All right. Bobby Brink back in the lineup.
Yeah.
No massive moments. Wow, that almost matched. That little kid yelling almost matched that. Not any real standout moments there in the first period. How long do you think it'll take for him to kind of settle in?
Well, I think the first game back for a young player, I think there's a lot that they're thinking about, right, Bundy? That they're trying to think, okay, I got to do this so that I don't get pulled from the lineup again, or I got to do that. And I think you're going to see a little bit of tentative the first game back. I think it's usually the second game, the third game back. I think those are the ones where you really, really see it, unless you did something egregiously bad in that first game that you come back. I think that's kind of where Bobby Brink is right now.
Yeah, he gets a free pass tonight because he was made nervous because he got pulled out, and that's what you do with young guys. They're made to think like, hey, this is a desperate hour for me. I've got to play great. So I think that's really the case.
See, that's what it was.
Flying Lawn Chair says, hot mic behind the net caught him accusing a Blue Jacket player of snowing the goalie. I want to get to something here. I don't want to put us in a really awkward spot here. It'd be Ant that I would throw under the bus. So there was a video tribute to Ivan Provorov.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd reception, I would say, was lukewarm.
That's fair.
I would say more cheers than boos. There was a smattering, smattering of boos. There, as you would expect, former teammates, they'll stick over the boards. There was a player on the Flyers who did not participate in that. We could allow the people out there to connect some dots there. I think.
No, I'll say who it was.
Go ahead.
Scott Lawton.
I guessed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I was coming up the elevator to come up here from pregame radio. Yeah, I would have been the guess. I'm actually surprised it was more than one guy.
Yeah, he was the only one. Now, I looked down immediately at the bench when they were all doing the stick taps.
Yeah.
And I can't say that they all stick tapped, but they were all standing, except for Lawton.
Now, here's a question. And we had this conversation.
Now, I think he just came off the ice too, so he might have been catching. I don't want to just guarantee.
Aggregators get Anthony SanFilippo. Ant Sanphilly on Twitter reports.
I don't want
Scott
to
Lawton
say
chose not to stand
that
for
that
Ivan
was the
Provorov.
reason that he was sitting.
I can just see it now. It's going to be all over the interwebs.
But it was possible. It was possible.
I do have a question though. We know that there was some tension there when they played. Is there a chance that we see an interaction between the two on the ice? Didn't happen in the first period.
Didn't happen the first time they played either in Columbus. I mean, he really didn't.
Is this like, Bundy, how often would you say in the past, how common was it when you were playing that if two guys didn't exactly see eye to eye in the locker room and then played on opposite teams the next year, that they would get into something? You'd see a big hit. Can't imagine like a drop the gloves moment, but like common or no?
Man, you have to be a really bad teammate. You have to be a really guy like that was just awful or did something that hurt the group or the core of the team. Individually, no. I mean, there's guys that have gripes, but I'll be honest with you, it's probably no different than being on Survivor. One day you're arguing with somebody, the next day you're looking for votes and friendship and everything else. Yeah. I hate to use that analogy, but it's true. It's like going through a year where there's a lot of emotions that go into it. When you lose games, people get more emotional, confusion sets in, coaches deal with them. So a lot of players have to absorb that, and you're not always going to be at your rosy best every single day because, like any other human beings, you deal with that stuff as well.
Yep. I want to get to something that we meant to talk about in pregame and didn't have the chance to. Rob Greeley brings it up. Felix Sandstrom was put on waivers today.
Yeah.
Question here, could the Oilers grab him, man?
Well, they need goaltending in Edmonton. I'm not sure that that's the answer for them. So, I mean, could they grab him? I guess. I don't know. He hasn't really played this year. He would need more time to really kind of get up to speed. And I don't think the Edmonton's a team that can risk taken a guy who's not played and put him in the lineup and fall further and further out of the race. So I think he does clear. I think. But I think the more interesting thing is why he was finally put on waivers.
Yeah.
And there's been it's been reported now that there was an appeal of the Hockey Canada investigation.
Yes.
And so therefore it's going to delay anything coming out from the league.
A shock. A shock, I say.
And so because of that, now the Flyers, who we're stocking up on goaltending just in case.
Yeah.
It's a situation where now, knowing that delay is in play, you probably aren't going to need a third goalie at the NHL level all season.
Hockey Canada investigation is going to come out the day after next draft. At this rate,
it could
maybe be 2025. Who knows? Who's to say?
But not even paying attention to that
lawyers,
thing
man.
anymore.
Well, I'm just saying,
lawyers, baby, lawyers.
It's all about lawyers.
But that's the reason why. I mean, you had to hold on to Sandstrom in case something happens.
Yes.
And now that there's a public announcement that there's an appeal and then there's stuff's going to be delayed, the Flyers look at it and go, well, okay, we can get through what we have for the season. If we lose Sandstrom, if he's not claimed, we send him down to the AHL, all's fine. But if he gets claimed, we still have enough in the system to be okay.
But, right. Yeah, right. But difficult, too, though, at the same time, when you have a guy like that. Edmonton's, they're a mess. Yeah. They're a total mess. Anyway, and that shows you what happens when you have two players, and if you're paying a guy that you think's a number one defenseman, $10 million, he's a number 5. They got a lot of problems.
I like this. Rory, by the way. Or wait, no, it wasn't Rory. Who was it? Andrew, put it back up. The last comment. Adrian. Adrian checks in from Australia.
Really?
Owen Tippett is an offensive juggernaut. Hey, Adrian, don't forget. Hey, Adrian. Don't forget.
We got an Aussie on here? I love that.
Yeah, when we do.
Awesome. G'day, mate.
G'day. Bluey and Bingo. I got to stop. If we do, when we do the tailgate, which, by the way, we've already, I think, gotten very invested in this idea of the tailgate in the spring.
It's going to be the biggest, baddest tailgate. Yep.
There have been people sending messages to the Snow the Goalie account saying, can you guys give us a little bit of heads up so I can plan a flight?
Well,
this is insane. This is how wonderful, but also insane, the people who listen and watch the show truly are, and we love it.
I told Russ the other day, let's just get a list of everything. Who's going to bring the macaroni salad? Have a potluck.
I love potluck tailgate.
You bring the macaroni salad. I got the sandwich board.
Yeah, we got it.
I want
some charcuterie.
I want to be on the grill. I'm not kidding.
Thanks,
I want burgers and dogs.
Yeah.
We want to have it totally funded for you guys.
Yep.
And I want to be with Ant just flipping grills around like it's nobody's business.
I'm a griller.
Yeah.
I love to grill.
I worked in the concession stand at the city pool. I was a grilling whiz, I'll have you know.
We can't wait.
It'll be awesome.
There was another thing in here real quick that I wanted to get to that's not quite as fun. I think this was a joke. Peter says, I'm hearing Lucic is in trouble. Maybe we can trade Frost and throw in a couple of hoagies for him.
That's just
in case it's not a joke.
That's wrong. That's just wrong.
Lucic does not belong. No. I mean, this is the biggest joke. Let me just say this about Boston, all right? What a freaking joke. And I can't wait till we're not doing this show. Until we're doing the regular show so I can actually air out my grievances with the appropriate language. But what a joke. Lucic gets the mugshot being investigated for domestic abuse, and the Bruins don't suspend him. The Bruins announce he's taking a leave of absence.
Well, it has to be.
What world do I live in?
It has to be until there's something there.
Russ, it's called lawyers and legal
taking
stuff.
A leave of absence.
Yeah, because they would get sued if he ends up getting found not guilty.
That's exactly. He could go back on that, right?
He'll sue the Bruins.
Yeah,
and
fine.
And Bruins don't want a lawsuit, so it's just leave of absence.
Nobody's more convicted than they are now as soon as the story hits social media.
Right.
So in the spirit of it, you're still innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
So there's probably legal ramifications that he has to deal with.
That's the only reason. I think that it's just it's until that is resolved, then of course they'll part ways with him.
Mike Butt says that legal process must play out. And that's correct.
Yeah.
That's why it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
There was something else here. Checking in from Hamilton, Ontario, says Cliff.
Uh-huh.
How about that?
Mordor.
Nice.
I call it Mordor.
That's wine country.
You know when you drive from Buffalo to Toronto and you got to drive through Hamilton?
Yes.
I feel like I'm driving through Mordor. from Lord of the Rings at that point. That's what it looks
Mordor,
like.
you mean?
Did you just
That's what
call
I said.
Hamilton Mordor?
It looks it.
He was
looks
saying
like
Morgler.
Oh, my.
Mordor.
I heard
That's what
you say
said.
No, I heard you say Morgler.
Mordor.
Let us know in the comments. Did he
I
say
said
Mordor?
Mordor. I
He
know what
definitely
it
said
is.
Morgler. There was a G in there. That's why I looked at you funny.
All right.
That's
all
one
right.
of the many reasons I looked at you
All right,
funny.
Schmiegel.
Stupid fat
I used to call Coatsy Smeagol. Except Smeagol had more hair in his head. Come back every Thursday. Enjoy the fish and chips.
Boy, oh boy.
Oh, that's
All right.
great.
2.5 minutes here until the period starts back up. On the whole, they end the period level at a goal apiece. Do you feel like it was a level period?
I thought the Flyers were, well, yeah, pretty much. But I thought the Flyers were better for most of the period. I thought that there was a little stretch there right around the Columbus goal. I mean, it was a delayed penalty. Travis Sanheim, you pointed it out, doesn't get the puck out of the zone. That's how Columbus keeps it in. I thought Sean Walker misplayed the shot there. I thought he allowed too much time and space. He should have tried to take it away and allowed the shot to get off for the goal. So that little stretch of a couple minutes in there, I thought Columbus was pushing the Flyers on their heels a little bit, but I thought the Flyers kind of pushed back some. I thought it was on the whole, it's mostly an even period. But if I had to say, pick a winner of the period, I thought the Flyers were a little bit better than Columbus.
I agree. One of the things that we saw, though, you just letting a team like Columbus hang around. And one of the good things things in this game you have to be very good at is the blue lines, and that's where the Flyers have to make sure that they do a better job in this period, because you can win the game there if you're sharp on the blue lines. Columbus is a mess with turnovers and getting far blue lines. That's where the Flyers can win this game.
I will give Sanheim credit for one thing, and I think it's further magnified because they're playing against Ivan Provorov. But Sanheim's ability to keep the puck in at the blue line on the power play is superior to what was the number one thing that used to drive me nuts about watching Ivan Provorov play? The puck would always get over his stick on the power play. Just couldn't keep it in. Sanheim had 2 or 3 plays early on. I think it was the one of the power plays early in that period where you just go, all right, this is what it's supposed to look like. You pick up a few extra chances.
In the final 30 seconds here, Bundy, what was your take on Johnny Gaudreau's play in the first period?
Honest to God, he looked like he was playing in an 11-30 on a Sunday night men's beer league. You can't say it. That was one of the most embarrassing periods for a guy making 9.5.
Crazy.
Dude, he'd be better off hosting The Price is Right. I mean, that was unbelievable to see that.
Yeah.
He didn't go between the hash marks. In fact, he didn't go between the circles.
He was pointing it out in his shift. He's like, watch him. And then he had a chance to line a guy up on the boards, just peeled away.
He didn't go between the circles.
He did nothing. And Bundy's like killing him. I'm like, oh my God, that was unreal. He saw it far earlier than I did. So
Dudge36, we did see your comment. We'll bring that up in the second intermission. If we don't bring it up right away, make sure you drop that same comment to us as soon as we start up the second intermission. We'll get to that because Forster has had some opportunities. We'll get into that during the second intermission. Don't forget, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. You can comment on YouTube and on Facebook. Let some other Flyers fans in your life know about the show, and we'll talk to you in the second intermission. Enjoy the second period, everyone. welcome in to the Press Row Show, the number 1 rated second intermission show this side of the Mississippi. Remember, the people tell us this. And we've had a lot of people tonight. Before we get into breaking this game down, we've had a lot of listeners of Snow the Goalie and the Press Row Show come up and visit us here in the Snow the Goalie Sportsbook, all the way up at the Wells Fargo Center. If you're here, take the elevator at section 121.
Snow the Goalie
Sportsbook.
The Snow the Goalie Sportsbook. We're up here, and we've had a lot of people who said they've been listening for 5.5 years.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool that the guy came by.
There was that guy and the one before,
Yeah.
and before the game. We had the two. Crazy. And a big thank you to those people, because it's one thing for you and I to have done this for so long and had to put up with each other, and then Bundy actively chose to get in the action with us 2.5 years ago.
It's like 2 years ago now.
It's 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, it's over 2, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's been a joy, boys.
The trauma has hit you so hard you've lost track of the time.
Man, I'll tell you what. It's been a long road, boys, since that first show I did.
Yes,
right.
it has been.
That's
Yes, it
right.
has been.
Well, anyway, welcome into the Press Row Show. The Flyers lead 3-2. A goal late in that period, credited to Ivan Provorov. Not sure if it will be. But I want to get to something else that happened in that period, a goal that took a very long time to review.
Yeah. Go ahead, Russ, because I know where your rant is going to be here. This is going to be, fixing the technology. I got it.
This is the
It's
year
coming.
of our Lord 2023.
Here we go.
There are other sports leagues in the world that use camera technology to figure out where a ball is. In soccer, there's no reason that they couldn't do something similar with a puck in hockey. And if you're afraid that the goalie pad is going to cover up the puck, put a chip in the puck, a tracking chip, and put 2 sensors in the post, and you'll never have to worry about having the right angle, because you'll know every time if the puck has gone fully across the line. Now, on a positive note for the Flyers, the goal counted, and I know you were a little bit skeptical because we didn't actually see the puck maybe totally cross the line. You can kind of deduce based on the momentum of the puck and the last place that you see it going away that it would have counted. Again, doesn't matter now. It's a meaningless regular season game. But if that had happened in the postseason, you think of the sports betting element to this as well.
I don't care about the sports.
Well,
betting
the league does, and they have to. And so I am concerned that when you get to the playoffs, to the Stanley Cup final, if a play like that happens, you have to get it right. They got it right tonight. I would like to see the league make some inroads here. Like, let's get this figured out. Use technology to your advantage. Let's get it squared away.
I'm not opposed to your suggestion. I'm really not.
I appreciate that.
No, I mean, because I think there are goals that are obvious that they're in, and they may not have visual evidence, and so they have to say, oh, well, there's no clear visual evidence that it actually crossed the line. But if you use your common sense, I had to mute myself there for a second.
You're getting close to some atomic ants, we'll call it.
Yeah,
Bundy bomb, atomic ants.
Yeah, I almost did. But common sense would tell you that it's a goal, and sometimes they get said no, that they're not. So I'm fine with going with the technology on that. But I'm glad that they had an angle that did show that the puck fully crossed the line on that. Ryan Poehling, shorthanded goal, which, by the way, Bundy, is the Flyers' NHL leading 5th shorthanded goal this season. Most shorthanded goals in the NHL.
They got a lot of penalty killers here, Ant.
They're not the greatest penalty kill,
but they're capable of finishing on the PK.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a 2-on-none, which goes to tell you what Columbus is like on the other side. But geez,
they've been just horrible. Like I don't even know how to describe. Columbus looks like they have no system, no idea, no clue. No, nothing.
And yet they're within a goal.
Like, they're within a goal. But, I mean, even the goal, you see the goal they scored, it took, like, poor Sanheim having to fall down into his own net with the puck found away. And he's played good in this game, Sanheim, again. But, man, I'll tell you what, it is just something to watch this team.
Yeah, it is.
They
make the Sharks look organized.
You know what it looks like? It looks like a team that spent pregame trying to figure out how to share the pictures from their family vacations to the screen the next time they have practice back in Columbus.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Babcock there. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah,
that was a nice.
I forgot about that in the quick moving world we live in.
That's exactly, like, think about now, Bundy, in all seriousness, they went into an offseason expecting Babcock to be the coach, install the system, the works. And the team does get, to some extent, kind of upended by his resignation, termination.
Whatever it
which,
is, yeah.
Hashtag lawyers. How big of an impact can that have? If you go into a season expecting one thing and it's blown up before it ever really gets going?
I think it probably takes a real strip off your team in terms of what their plans were. I mean, you come in with a new guy and you get yourself really really on the ball to play good for him, and then he gets fired and his reputation, and you have someone take over that wasn't supposed to be there. So I think they've kind of eased their way in. It almost looks like they feel sorry for themselves. I mean, and you can't do that, not in a league like this. But Columbus just doesn't seem to want to pay the price, and I don't know. I mean, and clearly that's why they're in the bottom of the standings. But they're not willing to do anything to crash the front of the net and make a difference. The one goal they actually did, and they got rewarded for it.
Yep.
I want to bring up, we had that question at the very end of the first period, if we can, because there's a couple. Dudge from Newfoundland. Because we have a couple people, we have a couple people talking about Tyson Forster, and he was asking about Tyson Forster, and what we thought of him, his season so far, and obviously he got his first goal last game. But now
a really good opportunity in the first.
Yeah.
On a play where the goalie was down and out, and it looked like he had a good rip on net.
Yeah. So your thought on Tyson Forster this game and the season? Flyers fan from Newfoundland. Great job, gentlemen. Love the podcast. Well, thanks, Dudge.
I love you guys. Newfoundland.
Appreciate it. You've been to Newfoundland, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful area. I've never been.
I mean, it's some of the greatest people ever. But I mean, you don't know Newfies? You've never been up there?
I've never been to Newfoundland.
Like
all right, listen.
They're our eastern coast. Like they're amazing.
Yeah.
But that is hardcore part of Canada. I mean, it's fishing. There's a lot of partaking in suds and some beverages.
This sounds like a great place for the Press Road show.
Not for me anymore, Russ. But anyhow,
you can have
Newfoundland is salt of the earth. Great people.
Good people.
Yes.
I think it's a great place for a Press Road show. We'll have to go up and have a Canadian.
Anyway,
let us know how you get us there, Russ.
We have enough Canadian fans, by the way, on metrics that we get here.
Of course we do.
We could absolutely.
But anyway, I don't want to lose sight of the Forster conversation.
Yeah.
Because other people were talking, because that question came before the second period. And of course, Forster takes a penalty there in the second period, right there at the end or towards the end, and holding the stick penalty right after the goal. Which is something you don't want to see happen right after you just gave up a goal, and 5 seconds later you're putting that team on the power play. So obviously that's a bad penalty to take in that spot. I think that the reason a guy like Tyson Forster stays in the lineup and has been staying in the lineup despite only having the one goal, and he's supposed to be a guy who's going to score a lot of goals, is he is a young player who really plays well in his own end and well without the puck. He gets a lot of praise from the coaching staff on this about that he's advanced for his age. Like, they thought that there was going to be a lot of teaching of him at this level, and they really haven't had to do that much because he's embraced it and figured it out, and he's ahead of where he should be for his age in that part of his game, Bundy.
Plays a good two-way game, but at some point, it's always easy to say early in a career if a guy's a good two-way player. Now, listen, there may just be so many jobs out there that he'll have one for 10 years, 12 years, but at some point they're going to want to see some goal scoring and some offensive production. Right. You can't just go in the league anymore and just be a good defensive center. You can find those anywhere. At some point, they will ask him to score and to be a producer as well as a two-way, and that just comes with growth. It won't happen this year, but I promise you it will happen.
Yeah. Manny with a very real comment here. You can't spell Forster without Frost.
This is true.
It's true. We have people arguing about whether or not Forster or Frost deserve to be in the lineup. So that's where the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just letting you know where Torts and his coaching staff is on Forster. I mean, they're not going to be happy with that penalty in and of itself. But again, the whole body of work and the way that he plays within the structure of this system is something that they are very happy with, and that's why he's staying in the lineup even though he's not scoring right now. They're more willing, and this is where the debate comes in about, is it the right way to go with this? They're more willing to let a young player stay in the lineup who's not giving you counting stats, who's not giving you goals and assists and points, but is playing the right way structurally within your system, than they are somebody who maybe is giving you a few points but isn't playing the right way within that they want you to play systematically. I think that's what they're doing. I think we have an example of it in real time. Yeah. I mean, we do with Morgan Frost. They don't think he plays good enough in his own zone, but he had produced before, right? He came in and he got some assists. He had goal. He just doesn't have the amount of rope that another guy has because of the way he plays in his own zone. Is Forster perfect? No.
But for what a guy like Torts wants, he's going to be able to live with that. And in his mind, he'll go to bed at night thinking that that's better, having a guy that's going to be more responsible defensively with less production at the end of the day.
I do have a lot of fun, by the way. I have some of these stats pulled up. Money Puck.
Yeah.
Where they, so the Flyers are winning expected goals 1.9 to 1.08.
Hey, at least they're both over 1.
But what I like here is, and let's test this model, okay? Chance the next penalty is on the Flyers, 57%. So let's keep an eye on that.
How do you figure that?
I have no idea.
How is that?
What was this?
On Money Puck, they have a chance the next penalty is on the Flyers, 57%. Don't ask me how that
Does
happens.
somebody make money off of that?
I have no idea.
Yes, they do. This is craziness.
It says Money Puck. And then,
Holy jeez.
But here's another thing. Chance of the game going to overtime, 26.953%.
Well, that's about right.
That's a better one.
That's about right. I mean, I guess.
No. But listen, we have to track this. Which team gets the next penalty? And if it was the Flyers, then we're going to have to give money.
I don't know how you get the 57%.
I don't know either.
It's 50-50 to me every time.
I want to know why this is moving.
50-50.
Oh, because they keep doing simulations, so it shows you the chance, like the deserve to win. I don't know. I need to talk to the person who owns Money Puck. I have lots of questions.
Really? Do we?
Yeah, I have lots of questions.
Hey, by the way, there was another great question, and at first I thought it was a stupid one, but then I thought about it, and I said, it's actually kind of a real relevant one because it was from the time period. Savelin Forrest put up a question, Andrew. If you can get up, you got it. Yeah, Bundy. Did the Fox Tracks glow puck feel different than a regular puck because it had the sensors in it? So, I don't know if that changes ever so slightly the weight of the puck or the feel of it.
I never noticed at all.
Okay.
Actually, now you think of it, I don't even know how they got it in. If they built it they built the rubber around it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We were talking about this yesterday with that Fox Track.
Yeah, we were.
And the amount of people that were maybe not real hockey watchers loved that Fox Track.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you know what their problem is, right? Hockey on TV, you can't follow the puck. So, and I was amazed at that. But it was real. I think it's real enough that people actually enjoyed it.
So I have an idea. Hold on, pause.
I was going to tell you my idea that's been around for 20 years.
Go ahead.
And then you can say what you're going to say. I've been saying, and maybe I'm way ahead of my time, or maybe I'm just an idiot, one or the other. But I've been saying for about 20 years now, maybe even a little bit longer, to be honest, that I think hockey on television would be so much better for the casual fan, and I think eventually the hardcore fans wouldn't mind it either, if it was the camera angle was north and south, not east and west. So if you followed the play up and down the ice with a camera that's above the
you
play.
You want like the
almost
2K.
like a balcony view?
Well, it doesn't be that high. I think you can have one like they have in the NFL, right, where they have that camera that dips down.
Yeah. Oh, like the sky, like a sky cam.
But it comes down like right over the play, right, like right behind the line of scrimmage. So you can have it where it's coming and it's constantly moving in the north. It's it's looking at it like you watch it on a video game.
Yeah,
it's the way I say it.
It's like 2K.
Right?
Yeah.
But I honestly think that you'll be able to see the game more and learn a little bit more about the game, and you wouldn't lose the puck as much.
What you do, right, and you do hear all the time, right? Like people say, oh, man, yeah, it's a great live sport hockey, but I don't like watching it on TV. I hear that all the time, which I don't like, especially in non-markets like this. Like trying to get the casual viewer to watch.
So let's take a second here, because we like to talk about where things are trending, right? We've talked about this a million times, about how it's entirely likely that within the next 5 years or so, a lot of the regional sports networks die, and a lot of these games start to go to digital platforms. They go to streaming platforms, whether it's Peacock, whether it's Apple, whether it's a Paramount Plus. If Netflix, Amazon Prime actually makes all the sense in the world. Amazon could be perfect for hockey, and here's why. Amazon, if you watch on Thursday Night Football, they have that secondary telecast where they have all of the AWS stats, the Amazon-created stats, and all the trackers, right? They use the thing where they have the player names ahead. They track the route of the player.
Yep.
It is totally conceivable that you can go with an Amazon down the line, toggle on and off the glow puck, right? Like toggle on and off, having the trail on the puck. You could toggle the camera. So instead of having it be the regular TV thing, if there were like a sky cam, something like that, that you could change the camera. I do think, as much as it's going to be a pain for people for eventually this to move off of cable and off the regional sports networks, I do think that hockey, more than any other sport, could massively benefit from having those couple of options during regular telecast games. I think it could be fantastic for the game. I really do.
I don't disagree. I think that I think hockey could be the sport. Look, hockey was ahead of the curve getting a sport into Vegas, right?
Yep.
They recognize that, you know what? Let's go there. Let's get a team in there. This was before the big boom of the gambling, you know, all the DraftKings and all that stuff. Before that really hit, they got a team into Vegas. And now the Raiders are there. They want to put the Oakland A's there. I'm sure that we're not too far from the NBA being there, as they're going to have their in-season tournament final there. So, like, the NBA can get ahead of the curve. They can try things, being a smaller sport than the big guys, and see if it works. Won't be the worst thing in the world. Well, try it. Try these technology things and see if people embrace it or
There
not.
are two things that I don't think you as a fan get to experience and understand quite as well unless you go to a practice or if you go to a game and you're at ice level. You don't understand how fast the game is. When you're at ice level and you watch these guys, especially how big some of these guys are, how fast they are, and when you watch how fast the shots are, the speed of the puck, the speed of it all. When you get those kind of stats, when you get those kind of things on the screen, like, it could be really cool for hockey. I think that was that a viewer?
That was a viewer wanted to take a picture with Bundy, and I guess it was her son or somebody that's
We'll
with
have
her.
to go chase her down
Like, was
after this.
pulling her
Gave
away.
her the
like,
old the cane.
Yeah,
Well,
that-
don't bother them. They're on right now. It's totally fine. It would have been like, we don't care. I mean,
We don't care. That's what we love here. Like
Yeah.
me and Russ yesterday, did you see the end of it last night? We had 100 people hanging around here. It was
we
great.
did. We had over 100 people
It was a
waiting for you
riot.
to get
Yeah.
Sean Walker.
No, I
Do us
watched
a
it
favor.
after the fact.
If the Flyers win, can you please make sure we get the player before he takes a Claude Giroux length shower and gets the suit on?
You saw me talking to PR guy Joe Seville.
I did.
Like a couple minutes ago.
I did. I didn't hear you bring that up.
Well, he brought it up, not
Okay.
me, and he
Okay.
said, and he was joking. He said he'll hold out longer, so Bundy has to stay on
You
longer.
know, I used to, so when I traveled with the team, I used to do the TV, so I used to have to hold the mic, you know, to get sound and stuff for the studio. So I would literally organize everything. I'd go get Hack, I'd set it all up. So I used to tell Seville, they should be giving me the PR job. You can work under me again. I'd be like, all right, Hack, let's go. And I'd have everybody done in 10 minutes. We were gone right away.
In and out.
In and out. So
Yeah.
Maybe
that
we'll
was,
start sending Bundy down to the locker room. Man can just stay up here.
when you get a guy in full suit after, that means that we've waited too long.
That's right. We're
It's
gonna
okay,
We're
Ant.
gonna hold your feet to the fire. All right, guys, let's get a prediction in here. We got our prediction.
I'm surprised you
pregame.
didn't. I'm surprised you didn't blame intern Andrew for that.
I didn't
Russ.
blame intern Andrew because he's fantastic and he has no control over the players.
I'm sticking with my original 4-2 Flyers.
Yeah,
Flyers?
I mean you're going to be the closest. I said 4-1 before the game. I think the Flyers do get another one. I think Bundy's going to nail it right on the
Intern
number.
Andrew, what was yours? 5. You had 5-4. 5-4.
Yeah.
All right, and I had 5-2.
That would mean an utter collapse.
So intern Andrew is in the running. Bundy's in the running. We have to go running right now, but we'll be back post-game. If the Flyers win, Ann will get a player. If not, we'll have the Torts presser. Bundy and I will be breaking it all down post-game. Let a few Flyers and your fans in your life know about Snow the Goalie and the Press Row Show. We'll talk to you post-game. Thanks for checking in. We'll talk to you not that very long from now. and gentlemen, your team, your town, your Philadelphia Flyers. They win the game 5-2. The way we all wrote it up, your team, your town, your Philadelphia Flyers, they get a win 5-2 against a downtrodden, a melancholic, a just not very good Columbus Blue Jackets team. Welcome in to the Press Row Show, the #1 rated post-game show this side of the Mississippi. Bundy's here. He looks like a beaut. And I'll tell you what else looks like a beaut. The Flyers' record these last 5 games. 5 straight wins. Don't call it a rebuild.
5 straight wins, 10 points in those 5 games. And you know what? I mean, you can't. Yeah, the math is pretty simple, Russ, but what's better is just the way that this team's playing. This was a little bit of a danger spot today. And I remember before the game, I'm thinking, I can't go against the Flyers again, and I got to ride them in this game because I just thought Columbus a little bit last night. It's a bad hockey team, and in this league, when you got a chance to take advantage of a team that's playing as bad as them, you got to jump on them. It's 9 in a row for Columbus in the loss column, and the Flyers 5 in a row. They're climbing the standings. That puts them, I believe, second in the Metro.
Second in the Metro.
Which is amazing, and certainly now, it makes them a team now that people are going to at least look at now and say, we can't take this team lightly anymore. They're going to outwork you. Guys that need to score goals have been doing so. Connecting with another one. Ryan Poehling today, that was a great showing by him as well. Put goal and 2 assists, +3 on the night for him. So, again, had a chance to elevate in the lineup, and he served his coach well, giving him those extra minutes.
Philadelphia Flyers, with this win, 21 points on the season in 18 games, which has them level with Carolina in terms of games played, so they do officially hop the Hurricanes. Both the Rangers and the Capitals have 2 games in hand, or now 3, I guess. Listen, it's a big win. I fully expected the Flyers to come back down to earth in this one. You always think of like the trap game. You think of the fact that they've gone out. They won on the West Coast. They beat Carolina. They had a great win against Vegas. At some point, you have a letdown game. I thought it was going to be tonight. It clearly was not. Did they play a perfect game? No, they did not. But they didn't play down to the level of the Blue Jackets. Bundy, I'm not saying that they're a better team than we expected, but at some point, and maybe it's after the first 20 games, but at some point, unless the wheels really fall off here in the next 10 games, I do think that we have to start having a conversation about like where this team is and if maybe the expectations are a little bit different.
Well, I think the GM said it best beginning of the year, like we can't control anything except what the players do on the ice, so everybody has an opportunity as an individual to showcase that and to prove that, we've been undervalued and maybe we are a little bit better than what people thought. So, again, I think that systematically they're playing terrific right now. They've all bought in. And as I said, like there's nights, tonight wasn't one of those nights. They found a way to win, but it's going to take a lot for this team to win a lot of hockey games in a row. This is an unbelievable stretch. I think last year we were about going through a 10-gamer at this time, somewhere in here. And so, what a flip of the script in a year. And all we can hope is the team keeps getting better and keep buying in.
Wanted to get to this by Keith DeBetham. Says that was a tasty snipe by TK. Top shelf.
That was a sick shot. Yeah, short side. And again, the whole play that led up to that was 2 turnovers by Columbus entering the blue line twice. The first time it didn't go in, it went back. They regrouped. Second time went back to connecting. He's able to just wait on it. Yeah, I got Columbus, man. I'll tell you what, they're a team that's just completely disjointed. I mean, like we said, San Jose.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, San Jose looked like they had more structure than this team.
They sure did. Yeah, it was that was just that's not a good team. That's not a team that's playing together. They don't play cohesive hockey. It looks like a bunch of individuals, and some of them look just genuinely disinterested in playing hockey.
Well, I mean, you can't win the way they played like that. And one of their best offensive players in Gaudreau, I know he's a local guy, but you can't play hockey like that and expect to bring other guys into the battle with you if you yourself won't even go in between the hash marks. So, anyway, I'm not here to really talk about Columbus. I think the story is the Flyers.
I agree.
And the Flyers dismantled a bad team. You're going to have to do that some nights. And the way they're playing right now, it would have been a shame to lose this game.
Hunter Miko says playoff bound. Eric says so much for Russ making up ground. Yeah, I'm falling farther behind in these in our predictions standings. It's a long season. All right, 18 games down, 64 to go. I have time. of time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not gonna be perfect the whole time. They're gonna hit a rut again. Like I really feel like every team struggles at some point. I mean, look at Vegas. Vegas lost yesterday. I think they lost to Washington.
Yep.
At the start of the trip, and they're getting shut out right now by the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yep.
So, a little bit of time left, but, everybody struggles. It doesn't matter who they are, but when you're playing well, you have to continue taking advantage of that momentum.
Cryptic Cowboy says, another good game from Belpedio.
You know what? He was so quiet, I didn't even notice him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Let's talk about this. Here you go. ECW and WWF. This year, Provorov is part of 9 losses in a row. Last year, it was 10 in a row. Is Ivan Provorov a losing player? 610-6. No.
Well, you got to know who you are, and we've talked about this before. I don't want to keep going back to the well. This was like, and again, you look at the way the Flyers defense played. Like, Sean Walker played a better game than Provorov or Werenski tonight. Other Flyer defensemen did too. So those are supposedly really good defensemen, but they played no better than anybody on the Philadelphia Flyers defense roster tonight.
Yep. Here we go. Let's see. Rob Greeley says that the Columbus kind of looks like the Flyers from last season, losing but remain in games. I guess here's the thing, Bundy. Like, if we're being realistic about what this Flyers team has been able to accomplish here through 18 games, I think that they have overachieved. I think that even if we had been honest with ourselves, I don't think we would have seen them hanging in with some of the teams that they have. You think about looking at this schedule early in the season, there were some sort of softy games that maybe you would have thought they'd have picked up points. But to pick up the points against the teams that they have and the circumstances that they have, and given the talent disparity, I think it's almost impossible to be anything but impressed by what they've been able to accomplish so far. Like,
no doubt.
And it's okay. I mean, look, if you're out there and you're screaming to yourself, it's supposed to be a rebuild, tank. You have to remember, like, John Tortorella is not going to tank. This team is going to go out. They're going to play hard. It was really cool to come out once again, back-to-back nights, nice crowds, and the crowds were loud and they're engaged. Yep. This doesn't sound like a building that has become apathetic. And we know that the last few years when the fans were lied to, the building was apathetic and was largely empty. There are a lot of people, and we were talking about this before. The way that you gauge whether or not a fan base is locked back in isn't by the seats that are down by the ice.
Second deck.
It's the second deck.
Yep.
And the second deck for the second straight game was quite full. And up here in the Snow the Goalie Sportsbook, in the entire top level, was very full again.
It's a great weekend, and again, just tells you that Philadelphia, if you compete and you're working and you're getting some results, it doesn't always have to be result oriented. They want to see effort in this town.
Yep.
They want to see cohesion, and they want to see a group of guys that care.
Yep.
And they're seeing that. And you know what? I don't think the wins. It's an accident that the wins have followed suit. You do the right things on the ice, you play the game the right way, you're going to be rewarded for it, and that's what the Flyers have done.
Matthew Bannock wants an over-under on how long it's going to be for Ant's interview. I can tell you that we already had the chat with communications about the importance of making sure that we don't wait until the guy takes a shower, gets a suit on.
Ant is fully dry, by the way, with the suit.
Ant and intern Andrew are downstairs. I know who they're trying to get. We have it listed here. The fine folks at home can't see it. It will be somebody that you'll want to hear from, which is exciting. This is, I guess, an interesting thought experiment while we wait. Trevston93 says, Chuck Fletcher always complained that key injuries hurt the team. Was he more correct than we thought? All right, so let's hop into that thought experiment for a second. He openly complained last year, or throughout the idea, that they expected to have Sean Couturier back and that they expected to have Cam Atkinson back, and Ryan Ellis didn't exist.
He traded for a guy that couldn't play.
Yeah.
Like, he had damaged goods. Like,
I still don't know how that went through.
I hate beating a dead horse like this, but it's like, come on. Like, how many guys were here? They couldn't play, or they were unable to play. Yeah. Is there someone else I'm missing beyond Ryan Ellis?
Yeah, there was Ellis. Atkinson missed the season.
Coots, 2 years.
The season. Yeah. I don't know. If you know it out there, let us know. I don't know. I don't know if we could say that he was right about it. I think that you see the impact that having Couturier and Atkinson has had this season.
No doubt. It's been a lot better. Certainly having guys in there with some seasoned minutes under their belt and instead of trying to groom guys that are young players and playing big minutes. So,
but if they had been healthy last year, this wouldn't have been a playoff team.
No.
So to that end, I would say no. I don't think that you can go back with revisionist history and say that that's
agreed.
Ed says Paling had a really good game in the right spot a lot. Good defensive plays, rewarded with a goal. Nice to see. Paling had a nice game. A lot of guys. Here we go. 3 points for Paling tonight. I want to do something here with you, and I'm sure that we'll get Ant in on this at some point. Thanksgiving is this week. What's one thing you're thankful for when it comes to the Philadelphia Flyers so far this season? Or what's one thing that the Philadelphia Flyers faithful should be thankful for?
I think that we have a team and a building and a group and community of the Flyers that are proud again of what they're seeing. We were as critical as anybody, and rightly so. I'll never apologize for that, not ever.
Yep.
It was a dumpster fire, a 10-alarm fire.
Yep.
And I mean, we asked for change. The fans knew it too, and we stuck with it. But I'm not going to be apologizing for it. But I'm happy for the fans, and I hope that this ride continues because it's been a lot of fun down here.
It has been.
It's been awesome coming down to the games. The fans are into it, as you said. It's loud. It feels like we're cheering for something again. Like there's hope.
Yeah.
I think the biggest word in anything in life is hope, and certainly we see some of the glimmers of hope through the way that these guys have played thus far.
Yeah. Here you go, Scott Taylor. We're talking about watching hockey and winning games. Everyone talks like this is investing in your 401k. I want to watch winning hockey now. There is a thought. Like there are people out there who will not, under any circumstances, accept the idea of tanking or of watching a rebuilding team and trying to get that top pick. I get it. Nothing is certain in the league. I totally get it if you're a fan who, no matter what the talent level of the team is, you want to see the team go out and win. And these are feel-good moments. And here's the bigger one. The upper bowl tonight was quite full, but it wasn't full of the elderly. It was full of a lot of kids and a lot of families.
Yeah. And
that, in some way, is part of the lifeblood of your team and your organization. Yes, the season ticket holders are a big part of that, right? Because you need those reliable people, those people who are committed to the team through thick and thin. But making young fans is a huge part of this.
Growing them into full-time Flyers fans over time.
Yep.
And there's how many times do you hear people say, "Oh, as a season ticket holder, my dad gifted them down to me. We've had them in the family for 50 years." We hear that all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Looks like is Anthony? Where is he? He actually may go into the shower and do the interview.
Next time we are gonna have to make sure that next time Ant packs a pair of flip-flops, the shower flip-flops. The dollar ones at like $5 below or whatever.
Shower.
We'll get him a little plastic bag to put over his phone.
This one here by Joel. Yeah, boys are working hard while having fun doing it, and that's what winning is. When you're out there, it doesn't feel like you're doing a lot. The worst part is we always talk about this, but when you're winning, it feels like you're never going to lose.
Yeah.
And when you're losing, like you go 5, 6, 7 in a row, it feels like you're never going to win again.
Yep.
There's a lot of, I find, like ebbs and flows in the schedule between teams. I've never seen so much, like really, like a lot of roller coasters through teams. They go win 6 in a row, then they lose 4 in a row, and they go win 5 out of the next 6.
Yep.
It's just weird, how it goes. It's not like a little, win 2, lose 1, and then kind of go right through the schedule. There's a lot, and I find a lot of teams do that through the entire league.
Yeah. Let's see. How does here we go. Valentina asks, how does a rebuilding team win 5 in a row? Hard work and dedication.
Hard work is a big thing, yeah, staying with it. And also, like I said, we said it yesterday, it's not impossible anymore for even a team that you look at in a rebuild that they find a groove in a season.
Yep.
You just do. It happens sometimes. And you know what? I'm not saying that it's a figment of our imagination and what we've seen isn't real, but stuff like that does happen. And But I will say one thing, this team has played well, and they've earned their points.
Yep. When I asked before about what people are thankful for, I asked you, and a few people chipped in with their thoughts of their own. Scott Taylor says he's thankful for the health of the team. Mike checks in and says that we have a front office that actually cares now. Dr. Panglass checks in from the West Coast. The team is mentally different. They're hard to play against with a chip on the shoulder. There are questions here as well about if people were booing Provorov whenever he got the puck. I didn't notice
that. No. I wasn't really looking, but if you usually you know it when a guy's getting booed or Bronx cheered from the other side, and I didn't hear too much of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Ant is still standing down there. I think intern Andrew's getting the camera set up.
I don't think Ant has the player yet. We're going to have, we told Ant that we're going to have a chat with him if he does this to us again. He came up, by the way, I don't think you heard this the other day, or yesterday. It was yesterday. Feels like an eternity ago. He came up, and we started going back and forth about how long it took for him to get the player, to get Sean Walker. And he goes, had to wait so long. And I said, well, how do you think we felt? We were up here doing a show. We had to vamp for 40 minutes, expecting 15. That Anthony down there.
We did carry it yesterday, Russ.
We did. I think we're kind of used to carrying it at this point. So, not ideal. Not ideal at all. But we make it work because we care about the people. And we have 100. Look at this. We have 155 people in here right now.
On a Sunday night.
On a Sunday night. Some combination of YouTube and Facebook. It doesn't count the Twitter. But we do appreciate all the people who are here. And don't forget, you can subscribe to Snow the Goalie wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, not Stitcher. That's gone now. Google Podcasts. And then this show, the Press Row Show, which we do pregame, first, second intermission, and postgame, live from Wells Fargo Center. We do this on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. We can pull up the comments, as you've seen, on YouTube and on Facebook. Twitter, we cannot, so please head over to YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm thankful to the 2,100 people who are subscribed to the YouTube channel now. I would love to be thankful for even more. I'm just throwing
Give it a like, click, right?
Yeah, it's just a little click.
That's all it is.
You click, and then you hit that little like button. Help us get found by other Flyers fans out there, which we greatly appreciate. Scott Taylor says the Flyers are causing major problems for teams in the neutral zone. Watch the stick work on the team. The counterattack is leaving teams on their heels.
Yeah. One of the big things, and that was a good example, actually, that comment right there. Thanks, Scott. That's how the goal was scored. That's the fourth goal that sealed it with connecting. It was just two brutal plays by Columbus, and then the Flyers just jumped all over them afterwards. Came back and transitioned twice. Finally got the insurance goal that put this game away.
Yep. Let's go to a few more here as we slowly get angry at Anthony SanFilippo. Michael checks in, says, Snow the Goalie, hard work and dedication. I think that's what Michael is grateful for. Deidre says, why don't we do some karaoke to pass the time? Bundy, what was your karaoke song? Everybody has a karaoke song. Don't say they don't.
Oh, man, Russ. You're not talking to a karaoke. I mean, you think I was running out the bars on Friday nights in my time? Karaoke?
Yeah.
I mean,
you're telling me. Hold on.
I mean, what am I?
Bundy,
dude,
sober, doing a lot of great things with the recovery community. But take me back to your playing days.
I want to bomb you right now.
There had to be a song. You get on the bus, or you're celebrating after the game. What was the song in the locker room? What's the one that you got the most into after a big win? There had to be one. Don't act like there wasn't.
Johnny Cash.
Okay.
I fell in to a burn. I can't. I used to. I see. I don't. I
fell into a burning ring of fire.
Down and the flames went higher, and it burns. The ring of fire. The ring of fire. Okay, that's it. That's my. That
was a good job.
So we used to have guys. I will tell you one thing. We have like kids like that.
We just lost 3 viewers. We did carry. We don't want those people to come back.
8 people are gone.
We don't want those people to come back.
We had.
That's right.
Now I lost my train of thought. We used to have the kids play like the funky, like, the new kids kind of stuff, like the new age pop boy band stuff. And then Billy Barber would come in. He's like, get this stuff off of here.
I like how
he's like, put Johnny Cash on. So I'd be sitting there and he'd be in there listening to Johnny Cash and we'd all get stuck. So
guys like listening to NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys in there?
Some of the young guys, and I'd be like, Jesus, I mean, I think it's probably better now than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Let's see. Here you go. The team is now competitive now that Snow the Goalie went orange. Yeah, once we changed the logo from the blue to the orange, all of a sudden the team got hotter because we went from blue to orange. We heated up. We heated the Flyers up. It was all us. It was all us. It was all us all the time.
Dr. Pangloss is back again. Bundy says no Stones. Yeah, I love the Rolling Stones. I just, I like Freddie Mercury. I like Queen. Like I like everything. I like Tina Turner. I'm not gonna lie. I do. Okay. I got a pretty good variety. I like U2. I'm not.
I like you too.
I'm not a Swiftie, but I 3 daughters that are all Swifties.
How about the fact that that the NFL and ESPN were so excited for tomorrow for Monday Night Football, the Kelseys against each other. There was the rumor that both the Kelseys and the Swifts, the parents, were going to meet for the first time. T Swift was supposed to be in the box, and then they had to postpone the show from today to tomorrow. Now she won't be there. ESPN, they were hoping for the rating. They're not getting the rating tomorrow, although they still will. It's a Super Bowl. rematch.
Anthony's up to his old tricks again here, isn't he?
Ant is in so much trouble.
So we're gonna have to pull
us.
the plug on because.
Oh, hold on. We got a message here. We got a message here. Still standing by. No, you know what, intern Andrew, you go figure it out. He's listening right now. You go figure it out. Somebody's got to figure it out. Let's see. Scott Taylor wants to see the Flyers try Tippett at center. He has all the tools to be an impact player at the center position. He can shoot, has speed, great on entries. I don't know if I see that.
I'm not sure about that one. Let me look a little bit more and get back to you on that, Scott. I don't see that. I don't. Yeah. I don't think he's got the playmaking.
We got Ant down below. We're gonna try to make this work now. Let's see if we can go with It looks like with Travis Sanheim.
Number 6. Look at that.
How about that?
Okay, I'm here in the locker room with Travis Sanheim after the Flyers' victory. And Travis, you guys are just rolling right now, man. I mean, 5 in a row. What do you think is just kind of like really working for this team right now to keep it going as well as you guys have?
I mean, obviously we're clicking a little bit offensively now, but all season long, I mean, we've been in most games. We've had chances to win most games, and I think we're just finally capitalizing on our chances. And when we do get up, we're doing a good job of closing and locking it down and finishing the job. So it's been good to see, and hopefully we can continue this winning streak.
You talk about getting up. You guys are 10-1 when you score the first goal in a game. How much of a focus has that been for you guys this year?
I think it's just getting off to a good start. That's our main focus is trying to we've got a pretty fast team. We transition the puck pretty good. So if we can kind of catch them at the start of the game and kind of get on them early and get a quick one, it tends to work in our favor. So obviously doing a good job at doing that.
One of the things we were talking about today is just how strong you guys are in the neutral zone, really kind of breaking up plays in the neutral zone and just being hard on the other team, making it hard for them to even gain entry into your end. Can you just talk a little bit about the strategy and the thought process there? It's a little bit different than before.
Yeah, it's a big emphasis that we've had going into this season was our D kind of surfing up and being able to jam up plays, and a big part of that is we have to have forwards that are coming back, tracking back in the right spot and covering us if we do jump up. So they're doing a great job of coming back. It's allowing us to stay up. We're turning over more pucks, and we're able to transition a lot quicker. So credit to the forwards in allowing us to do that.
And another thing that's really worked for you guys has been special teams. You get another power play goal in this one, a shorthanded goal in this one. I think you now lead the NHL with 5 shorthanded goals. Maybe like the last thing to come around for you guys, but man, if you get that special teams going in a positive direction, the sky could be the limit for you guys.
Yeah, I think special teams obviously play a huge factor, and the biggest thing is you don't you want to gain some momentum from them. So if you're on the penalty kill, you want to work the power play, and vice versa. Same thing when you go on the power play, and it's been a big emphasis for us as a power play group is just trying to put the work in, and right now it's paying off. Hopefully we can continue to get good looks and to capitalize on our chances.
Last thing for me, you've been here for through good times and some bad times. This locker room seems to be really close, really tight, really unified. How much is that impacting the success that you guys have had so far this season?
Yeah, we got a good group in there. Each guy's coming to work and doing their job, and we're having fun doing it. I mean, each guy's enjoying other guys' success, and I think that's a key part in all of this is coming together as a group, being there for one another. D'Lo, another huge fight for us tonight. Just the effort that each guy's putting in each and every night has been great, and that's a big part of why we're winning games. It's just that working team, so we got to continue that.
Travis Sanheim, thanks for joining us here on Snow the Goalie.
Thank you.
Great.
We're back. Hello.
Great job, Ant. Thank you, Travis, for joining us in our post-game show. Nice to have easily the best Flyer defenseman this year. I heard somebody say how much bigger he looks. He does look bigger.
He does.
And he's playing bigger on the ice a little bit, getting his legs moving and stuff. And, in the game now, big guys, like, you don't have to kill anybody. Like, he's playing good positionally in his zone and making good plays. And he had another good game today. This is a good win. This is an excellent win. The team, where are we going from here, Russ? Wednesday, they're on the road, right? And then they have the Black Friday games at 1 o'clock.
They have the Black Friday game. That's all I care about because we're down here for it. Give me a second. Let's double check.
Well, some of us have to do the other games.
Sure, you do. Yeah, you're right. Wednesday, the Flyers are they're on the island, taking on the Islanders. They're back here on Black Friday, 1 o'clock, an afternoon game. If you're down here at the Wells Fargo Center, by all means, come up to the Snow the Goalie Sportsbook and come chat with us like people did pregame and during the intermissions and postgame. We're up here the whole time. Happy to chat with people and taking the game together.
Want to hear how bad this is?
What?
The Flyers play at the Islanders on Wednesday, and then they play at the Islanders on Saturday.
Oh, that's brutal. that is goofy.
That's just
very
brutal.
That's very goofy.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if there's anything else here that we want to get to before we head out. Shout out to Ant. Sanheim didn't get to the shower yet, so Ant did a better job today than he did yesterday. And that's really what this is all about, friends. It's about learning. It's about improving together. Now, I think we're good. I don't know if there's anything else here that we need to get to.
No. I mean,
I will tell people, obviously, the Flyers are playing on Wednesday against the Islanders. You and I and Ant have to make a decision because Wednesday, obviously Thursday's Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. So we're dealing
Typically,
with
we do the morning after.
So.
The question is if we'll do the morning after on Wednesday night, immediately post-game.
Well, that's not the morning after.
I know, but we did it once before. We did it one time before. We went immediately post-game. We'll have to talk about it. We'll put it on social media. We'll let you know on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter what we decide to do that day.
We'll call it the evening ladder. Ladder in the evening.
Ladder. Oh, ladder. And then, of course, on Friday, we'll be back here for the Press Row Show. A big thank you to everybody who tuned in. We did our biggest number of live viewers on the post-game show.
You never know. So that tells us we're growing. And we always tell everybody. I tell people downstairs, like, if you haven't heard of us, go watch it and then tell 2 friends and then tell them to watch it and watch 2 friends. Because we try to do a lot more than just hockey. We like to have fun, too, and try to give you a glimpse of the locker room that I once played in and offering similar personality to that. It's a good time. We love meeting people up here on the press row in our area up here. It was packed again tonight. Like, I was really impressive for a Sunday night. That's because of Philadelphia fans. I said long ago, the beating heart of this franchise is the fans.
Yep.
And that will always ring true. So Thank you so much for what you've done, helping us, the Flyers bring this back again.
Yep.
We want to see the team continue to do well, but we also understand, what this is.
Yep.
And that's why we relish and love every win so much.
On the off chance that we don't do anything after Wednesday's game, I think we will figure out a way to do it. But on the off chance that we don't, I do want to say, thankful for you.
Same here, Russ.
Thankful for Ant. Thankful for intern Andrew. But most importantly, thankful for all of you who watch the show and all of you who listen to the show after the fact.
And I'd like to just throw something out.
Go ahead.
What's the over-under of deviled eggs that Anthony eats on Thursday? I'm going to set it at 27.5.
I'm going to say under because I'm thinking Ant. I'm thinking traditional. No, I'm thinking traditional Italian. I don't think you go deviled eggs. I think of deviled eggs with Easter.
Yeah,
do you do deviled eggs on Thanksgiving?
No, I think Anthony does. I have a feeling he's going to double egg it. Yeah, yes.
He's been, you know what though? He's been so good. He's been on the diet. He's been, dropping lots of pounds. I tried to get him to go to the diner.
Hunter Miko says under.
I tried to get him to go to the diner yesterday for like a late food because back in the day he and I used to go and grab a bite. He's like, I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to eat. I'm like, I said, how about tonight? It's not that late. Go grab a bite. He's like, Maria made me dinner. Which is great. Maria's a great cook. She's fantastic. Makes a fantastic chicken cutlet.
I'm sure.
I'm telling you, I had the chicken cutlet. Fantastic chicken cutlet.
It was home for a big parm and a big side of pasta.
It was so good. Yeah. It was very good. Anyway, Ant won't go and have fun and eat after games anymore, and I feel a little bit wounded. Yeah. But you know what? I'm still grateful for him. And again, we're grateful for all of you who watch the show.
We do. We love you.
All of you who listen to the show.
And we'll see you sometime Wednesday, but definitely Friday.
For sure.
If not before then.
Yep. So for Bundy, for Ant, I'm Russ. Another Flyers win. 5 in a row. They look to make it 6 in a row on the island on Wednesday. Boy, could they get to 7 on Black Friday. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but enjoy the wins as they come. We'll talk to you soon.